we uncovered increasing evidence of a secret, darker side to the BNP, in contrast to the public face that they're trying to present to the British electorate. Nick Griffin spoke at a private meeting of white nationalists in Texas. We've obtained a video of the speech. Beside Mr. Griffin sat David Duke. Mr. Duke is a former leader of the Ku Klux Klan, an organisation with a violent history of lynchings and murders of blacks. Nick Griffin confided in his right-wing audience that he and his party had a new strategy to sell their ideas to the British people.
There's a difference between selling out your ideas and selling your ideas. And the British National Party isn't about selling out its ideas, which are your ideas too, but we are determined now to sell them. And that means basically to use these saleable words, as I say, freedom, security, identity, democracy. Nobody can criticise them. Nobody can come at you and attack you on those ideas. They are saleable. Perhaps one day, once by being rather more subtle, we've got ourselves in a position where we control the British broadcasting media, then perhaps one day the British people might change their mind and say, yes, every last one must go. Perhaps they will one day. But if you hold it out as your sole aim to start with, you're going to get absolutely nowhere. So, instead of talking about racial purity, we talk about identity.
So once again, the so-called New Style BNP is just a front run by old-style extremists.
What about your secret agenda for this country? What about your wishing to take power by the boot? What about you?
Through the ballot box.
You want to do? Send them all home?
Yes.
Force them to go, whether they want to go or not, whether they were born here or not. Wouldn't
Ultimately,
you?
yes.
Answer this point about the video, because there's no question of you being misquoted on that. It's on video, and you are saying...
Wait a minute. There's another point about this video, which I've also seen. Anybody can see it. It's on YouTube. And you were there with the American friends of the BNP, and you were with the head of the Ku Klux Klan, David Duke. He's there in the picture, standing beside you. And the interesting thing to me is... He's there. I've seen it. You can see it.
Let me explain it.
Right, well, this is the key point, and it goes to the heart of this programme tonight and of everything you've been saying and of what Chris Huhne has been saying about you changing the views of the BNP. What you actually said, as he quoted, is perhaps one day the British people might change their minds. And you went on, but if you put that, i.e. getting rid of all coloured people from Britain, as your sole aim to start with, you're going to get absolutely nowhere. So instead of talking about racial purity, we talk about identity. We use saleable words: freedom, security, identity, democracy. Nobody can come and attack you on those ideas. But the truth is, what you were saying there was, that's just the start of the story. And when we've won public support, then we can go to our proper agenda.
Absolutely.
I've shared a platform with David Duke, who was once a leader of a Ku Klux Klan, always a totally non-violent one, incidentally. Do you...
Nick, excuse me. Don't go and talk about the Ku Klux Klan.
It's a vile organisation.
No. I can tell you about David Duke. We don't have time for that. Don't BS.
Yep. But can we reframe this whole question?
The point about this is, why should anybody trust what you say? Why should anybody think it's any more than a facade?
Why should anybody trust any politician? All of it.
Could I just come in here? Because we've seen over the last week, and we've seen it in front of our eyes this evening, that the moment anybody puts an uncomfortable quotation to Mr. Griffin, he says, I didn't say that, it wasn't quite like that. Well, most of us have actually seen these things on YouTube. I saw Mr. Griffin saying this on YouTube.
Yes.
Out of it, oh, he did say it. Oh, good.
I did say
out of his own mouth. But time and again, he wants to wriggle out of it. They've even published a manual. It's called the BNP Language and Concepts Discipline Manual, which starts off, rule one, the BNP is not a racist or racial party. Well, no other party has to say they're not a racist or racial party.